Okay, I think we need some conversations with family. And here's what I would find as being the conversations we got to have. I believe we should talk to them about what our travel plans are, what we plan to do in retirement. Let them know, because for those of you who are retired, have you noticed that your adult children think because you're retired you're not doing anything? Right? It's like we pay $1,000 a month in daycare and you're not doing anything. I could save $1,000 a month. Here, you look after your grandkids. Yeah, well, there you go. You want to talk to them about the involvement with grandkids. How many people want to leave the Gold Coast to be closer to your grandchildren? No. Don't all answer at once. Yet there are a lot of people who want to do that. Now, I know that you have a show, an American show here called Everybody Loves Raymond, that they still play. Being close to the grandchildren didn't exactly work out in that family. If you want to move to be closer to the grandchildren, understand that the grandchildren should actually want you, and that you're not getting involved close to your son and daughter-in-law, because as one woman put it to me, she said, when we lived 1,000 kilometers away and they had a fight, we didn't know about it and we didn't care. But now we're living next to them, and when they have a fight, my husband and I stay up all night worrying about it. They've gone to bed, they don't care anymore, and we worry about it. So you can't live your kids' lives. Potential moves, upsizing, downsizing. Let them know what you plan to do. The thing I worry about is the number of adult children who are moving back because they can't afford to get a home and they're going to move in on you. Let them know what your plans are in that regard. And it might include, and I'll put this in square feet as opposed to, but it might include getting a place that's 1,100 square feet with no room for visitors. You know, no spare room. No, turn it into an office. No spare room. Can't put you up. No, not on the couch. Yeah, we don't have a couch. Health issues they should be aware of. And these are things that you should share with them if it has maybe a long-term implication. Now, it's going to be different for all of you, but I think we should let them know what we might be going through and the potential for caregiving. And we normally think about caregiving or aged care when it comes to our parents. But how about aged care for you? Think about that for a minute. First of all, have you priced out what that might cost? Did you realize that if something else doesn't get you, that close to 100% of us who live past 90 are going to need it? And that about 80% who live 50% past age 80 are going to need some form of aged care. So chances are pretty good if something else doesn't get us, we might need aged care. If that's the case, have you got money aside for that? Have you looked at what you want to do? And do you have an enduring power of attorney, everybody, something that acts on your behalf when you can't? And it should be registered so somebody can't come along and change it. So you can't do that here? Okay, you can, okay, all right. But that's something that you might want to think about. Now, we know that we need to talk about estate planning issues. Only 36% of Australian boomers, and Canadian and American, have an up-to-date will. And few have thought about an estate plan and what they need to do there. So I think this is something, don't let it wait. It's something you can do early, and you sit down and you figure out what plans do I need to put in place. It's certainly something to talk about. We have an estate lawyer here. It's something to talk about BISCosgrove. We've got people that can help you and let you know what you can do, should do, can't do. So, do you have anything you want to add on that one?
I am working on a registered power of attorney, but you definitely should have a power of attorney.
Yeah.
One of the difficulties you have with powers of attorney is don't choose someone who's of the same generation, because they'll do the same marbles just as you.
Don't choose somebody of the same generation, because they'll lose their marbles at the same time you will, right? Hey, that's great advice. Okay. Now, let's focus on your close personal relationships, and that would be your spouse or partner. Let me ask you a true or false question. True or false? Retirement is actually easier on relationships than when you were working. False. Absolutely. You know, there are some who won't believe you or who are in la-la land. I just have to mention two numbers to you that I think are important as you think about whether that was true or false. Two numbers. I married you for love, but not for lunch. Aw. All right, now think about this for a minute. In retirement, it's almost like a new contract, isn't it? Because you've got a certain dynamic that you have built up for 40 years. And now you're retired. It's not like Saturdays and Sundays. And, you know, it is no secret that the number one demographic for divorce in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada and the US is the 55 to 64 cohort. So if we think about that and think about why so many people at this point in their lives relook at their relationships. Now, I'm not suggesting this happens to you, but I am suggesting that maybe we should have some conversations. Here's the ones I believe you should have. What are our financial priorities? My experience is that people don't talk about their financial priorities. They assume. In my view, if you are in this room and you are not in control of your money or understand where it is, get control. And it's not that you want to take control away from your spouse or partner, but you may have to look after it on your own. And you want to make sure that you can actually do that. And that's where somebody at BIS Cosgrove can give you a hand. Where are we going to live? All right, one of you wants to live here. The other has got fascination with Alice Springs. And then the fight is on. And I know you're saying, you know, send me a postcard. But it's not just where you live, but where do you want to spend your vacations? Now, you could spend it here. That's great. But think about a situation where you live in Tassie. And you don't want to always spend your time there. You want to move back and forth, but you don't agree on where to go. You haven't talked about it. So let me give you an example. My brother Gary retired pretty well. Retired at 55, and Gary is a golfer. He lives in Calgary, Alberta, which, for those of you who know Canada, there's not a lot of golf in the wintertime, right? Not. In fact, there's none. So Gary buys a big caravan. This thing is bigger than most rock bands. And he wants to spend 6 months a year in Palm Springs, 120 courses in the valley, and that's his retirement. Now, his wife, Shauna, hates the motorhome. She hates to drive. She hates the desert. She hates golf. And she hates Gary. Yeah.
Shauna's the problem.
But she said, or he said, don't worry, she will learn to love it. Yeah, no, she won't. So I think you got to talk about this one. You got to talk about roles. Picture this. Husband retires. Wife still works. Husband waits at home for her to cook him dinner. All right? That didn't work in your family? All right. So we have pink jobs and a blue jobs. And the fact is that just because she cooked for 40 years, you know, maybe we can start shifting things around a little bit. You're both at home now, generally. And so it's reassigning the household chores. There are schedules. What are we doing today? I'm going for lunch with the girls. Can I come? Can I come? No. Get a hobby, get a dog, get a life, but you're not coming. My friends Bert and Marlene retired at age 65. They are joined at the hip, figuratively, literally. When they retired, they bought matching sweaters. It's like a team uniform. Bert and Marlene have no other friends. My wife and I aren't really friends. We golf with them. I said one day on the golf course, I said, Bert, if we were to invite you over for dinner, would you come? He said, no. I said, I don't understand. He said, well, if we came to your place for dinner, we would have to invite you to ours, and we don't do that. The most antisocial guy I'd ever seen. Now, he's either antisocial or, do you have a witness protection program? Because he's got to be on one or two of those. So that's a problem. So we want to have these conversations and just make sure that we are on the same page.